Hey, gang. Thank you for joining me today on My Doula Micah. Today on the podcast episode, I have Catia, Sykora, Katie, Snapp, co-owners of Waco Moms. This interview is a lot of fun. They are full of energy, very smart women, and they talk to us about what Waco Moms is all about for them, why they decided to jump in, and some personal stories. So I'm glad you're here. Hey, y'all. I have guests in the studio with me today. I'm really excited about my guests, Catia and Katie. They're going to introduce themselves. They're the owner of Waco Moms. Jump in, girls. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Hi. We're here on this is our first podcast ever.
Nice.
I feel like this is the start of something.
You are
very
welcome. My pleasure.
I'm pumped.
We're excited.
Bucket list. Check.
I am Catia Sykora. I am a co-owner of Waco Moms. Katie and I are actually both realtors with Camille Johnson Realtors, so that's kind of our work background. Yep. But I'm a mom of 3. I have 2 boys and a girl, and I've been married to my lovely husband almost 9 years, and we have lived in Waco for almost about that time, 9 years.
Okay. Where are you originally from?
San Antonio.
Okay. I love San Antonio. It's a great town.
Love San Antonio.
We actually went to rival high schools.
We did.
There's so many points, and I'm sure this will come up several times, where God has clearly put Catia and I together like so many times, and we've missed each other so many times.
So many times.
And it just reaffirms. I'm just like, no, this is my person.
We met here, and it works.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool.
San Antonio.
San Antonio.
Okay, Katie, how about you?
I'm Katie Snapp, and co-owner of Waco Moms, also a realtor. And I feel like I've always kind of worked in some sort of marketing, branding, social media, and then also in real estate. And I thought I was going to be an attorney. I thought I was going to be an attorney, and I
should be a good attorney.
Thank you. But then I started working in real estate my senior year in college just to pay the bills. And I went to Texas A&M University.
Okay.
And I was a military brat, so I moved around so much. It really, I mean, the great things I learned, and then there's also a lot of trauma that comes with that. You know, being the new student, 4 years and 4 years of high school.
Wow.
It's a little. You learn to adapt. You learn to let things roll off your back.
My husband was a military kid.
It's a big deal, and you learn to introduce yourself, and you kind of get very comfortable with who you are, and so that was. I lived in San Antonio. For the longest. The longest stint we did was 5 years in San Antonio, and we went to different high schools, and our parents worked in the same place at Randolph Air Force Base, and we didn't meet.
Wow.
But I met my husband, Brody Snapp, at Texas A&M, and I fell in love with how much he loved his hometown.
Aww. So he's from here.
He's from here.
Both our husbands are like
Wacoans.
Yes.
And they're very similar.
Yeah.
Very similar. I mean, we both have large sets of in-laws that are all local. We both kind of just loved this family-oriented environment that we have here.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing.
Yes,
it's
incredible.
Fantastic. And I'm so excited that my girls are going to, I have 2 daughters. Sienna is 2 and Stella is 4.
Okay.
And just the fact that they get to go to the same school, K through 12, is so exciting for me. They get to live in the same house. And it's just having roots and like putting those roots down. I'm a 9th generation Texan, so I'm a big history buff. And I love the fact that I, have these roots. I really clung to them, especially since I didn't have any growing up. And so the fact that I get to be so involved in the community, I feel like all of a sudden I got here and I was like, I want to do everything.
Love it. Love it.
I want to take this city and just make it home for the rest of my family for generations to come.
So speaking of community, and based on what you just said, is that some of why I want each one of you to say what inspired you to want to lead the Waco Moms group, team, blog? I mean, there's so many things that Waco Moms do. And so I would love to hear from you guys. I'd love to hear y'all explain what you feel like Waco Moms is all about and why you jumped in.
Yes. So I want to give a huge shout out to Carrie Maddox. She started Waco Moms 5 years ago and had worked the platform for many years. Waco Moms is actually part of a larger network. So there's about 95 or so sister sites around the nation.
Nice.
And so, Carrie kind of took that on. She saw a need and she started the need and she built that, foundation.
Right.
And so when she approached us and she said, hey, I think this would be a good fit, we had been doing coffee and community through like as advertisers, like as people that are coming in and doing a service. Katie has actually been a contributor and written stuff for Waco Moms. And so I think Carrie was like, it just seems like a natural fit. Like you guys are already doing some of these things. And so we definitely went back and forth. We're like, it's another, kind of larger thing to take on. But we, as moms, I think both have very like individual stories of motherhood and it just feeling kind of isolating and lonely. And both of us had a baby during COVID time. We were like, there's just this larger need of connection. And we want to do that. Like we want to create it. And so CNC was born first. And then we kind of took on Waco Moms and have continued to really try to make it very community focused. Yeah. The amount of people that come and they're like, we needed this. Like we needed coffee and community. I needed one meetup a month to just get out and like talk to somebody. And this forces me to get out of my house. Yes. It's kid friendly. I'm like, you just come, you have a cup of coffee and you meet another mom. And we also have a team of contributors that write for us. So we try to keep it with various, different perspectives. And it's been a labor of love this first year.
Non-stop.
It's been nonstop. It's been a labor of love.
Waco Moms is very much, in most layman's terms, it's very much a business. Like it's a platform and turning it into a community is kind of what our goal was. We, granted, for better or for worse and all things that came with COVID, Waco Moms previously was just they would do partnerships and with local businesses and they would post on social media and our website has about over 1,000 published blog posts on it. So the contributors have been writing for years.
I don't think I knew that there was that many.
So many. Our archives are aggressive. And I very much work like the WordPress website side of things, or I try to, because Lord knows it was a learning curve. That is the one area of media that I was not familiar with whenever we took on Waco Moms. It's a lot more than Zanga, and that was pretty much where my training stopped. But so it's very much a business, and we have partnerships with communities, and the reality is that making the community aspect, Coffee and Community, which is our monthly hangout, was really something that Catia and I felt was really important. Gotcha. We wanted to expand it past a social media platform. Moving to Waco and being in a small town where a lot of people, when we first moved here 6 or 7 years ago, it's like everybody already knew each other. Everybody already knew when you sign up for swim lessons, where you do soccer, where you do all these things. And I didn't know any of it. And
when you come in, you're like, what? It's hard. Where's the resource? Or where can I go to one place and get all these
I graduated from Waco High in 1989.
I love it. I love it.
And I know exactly what y'all are talking about because there is Wacoans typically have original roots from generations to generations, and they are very established, and it's a group. I'm not going to say clique, kind of, but that always has a negative connotation. I don't think there's close-knit is a way better way to say it, but it is hard to get into those circles because these families have known each other for
they've raised kids together.
Kids together. So then you get all these newbies coming into Waco, and so there's this gap of a bunch of new people and people who've been here forever. There's like no middle ground. And so I feel like over the years, as we've grown, and y'all, Waco's grown a ton in the past 10 years. Insane. Love it though. And so I feel like that bridge is coming together quite a bit more. And you guys are really helping Waco achieve that. And the events that you put on, the things that you say, how you want to serve women, specifically moms in the community. They just hosted a fabulous event, Bloom, which really targets women who are expecting, families who are about to have kiddos. Maybe this is their first baby. And it was so successful. I cannot tell you how many people came by our booth and they were like, where has this been? Like, oh my gosh, I had a baby 7 years ago and I couldn't find anything. There was nothing available. This is so helpful to see all these resources and people sharing about, their not just their businesses, but what they're passionate about and how to get involved. So it's been a real treat to jump in on what you guys are doing, your vision, and how you're helping the community. So I love that you're already speaking to that. It's obvious that's kind of a ground basic thing.
That's
you guys.
really where we saw the opportunity. Yes. So when Carrie approached us and she was like, listen, I feel like this has the opportunity for growth. Now's a good time for growth. She was phasing out of a season and we were, we're kind of diving into the season of early motherhood. And so all of these topics are very fresh on our minds, private daycare, staying at home, going back to work. What does that look like? Holidays. What does that look like? We're inventing our traditions now and getting our kids locked in organizations and activities now. So we're very much involved in it. So the ability to provide guides through our website, and then to get these moms together. I mean, we are very much, there was in a world where we are all so divided in so many different areas and categories and things. It was so comforting to finally just be like, I'm not from here. Yeah. And our husbands were, and for the record, they did not have any information as far as what activities we need to sign up.
Really? It's so shocking. Your husband doesn't know.
All those insider secrets did not make it through the husbands.
Did not help us at all.
So it was just so encouraging to get to be like, no, we're all moms. Like this is something that with, no matter what, that is the one qualifier we have.
Yes. And motherhood is a universal language. I think when you understand being tired and when you understand, what it doesn't matter what the way you do things, it's like motherhood is just understood. It's a universal language that we can all connect on. And so Katie and I go back to what connects us, which is motherhood. Like at the end of the day, Waco Moms is about motherhood and how we can support one another and how we can be a resource. And so that really is kind of our goal, is like we want to be a resource, we want to be supportive, we want to add community aspect. Yes. And like with Bloom, like even myself, like my first is about to turn, he's going to be 7 next month. Oh, that's crazy. But when I became a mom, that was 7 years ago. I mean, it was like you have this resource and that, and there is so much I didn't know. And Bloom was such an opportunity to go to one place and have all these resources there. Yep. You don't have to make 10 different appointments, meet 10 different, service providers. Like, like it's like you just go and then you're like, wait, do I need to know about this? Like, why do I need to know about this? And like, oh, when I do have an issue, now I know who to call. Yes. Because with me, it's like I've learned that things pop up every single year that you're like, okay, wait, like who would I need to go? Like who would I need to go for something like that? And I think that opportunity for Bloom, and it was our first, but technically like the 4th annual. And so we just were like, it was a lot of work, but we're like, wow, like what a service, like all the providers are here and moms go to one place and that's it. Like you did one, and then you got a bag and goodies and like treats and
a shower of resources.
It was a shower. Yeah, it was so wonderful.
It really was. Yes. It really was. Y'all did such a great job. So speaking of motherhood, you guys think back when you were maybe your first, and you're about to step into this unknown territory of being a mom, and share on a little bit more personal note for our listeners, something about either your pregnancy, your childbirth experience, or your postpartum days that really stands out to you, of just entering into this motherhood thing. Something that when you think back, you go, oh, I remember when.
For me, I would say I am one of 4 children, and I have 2 younger siblings who are 12 and 13 years younger than I am. Okay. So my dad, military, was very much deployed through their infancy and being toddlers. So I always say those are my first and second children. I had car seats in the back seat of my Volkswagen convertible all throughout high school. I brought my little sister in her baby carrier to cheer practice. I was like, for all intents and purposes, minus a lot of the struggles I know, but I was kind of a teen mom. Like my mom really relied on me. She's a working mom. And so I kind of got this idea that I knew everything and that this was going to be no big deal.
Got it.
I have this, I'm going to take everything in stride kind of demeanor that I very much fake. It is like, definitely
plenty of people out there that relate to that, I'm sure.
Yes. I was like, no, I've got this, no big deal. And I think I put off that persona so much that people just assumed that I've got this. It's no big deal. And then it became the expectation that I've got this. And I was super fortunate. My pregnancy was super healthy. My labor and delivery was a dream. Every time a girlfriend goes into labor, I'm just like, all I can do is pray that it says peaceful and easy as mine were, because I recognize how much of a gift that was.
Yep,
but that kind of started me off on this high expectations of everything is going to be perfect.
Yeah.
And those first couple weeks, the door to your previous life slams loudly behind you.
Heck yeah.
Very loud.
And you mourn it a little bit, and you're like, what happened to me? I had everything figured out. I knew what every day was going to look like. And now I don't know if I'm going to sleep tonight or not.
Probably not.
And probably not. And so that means I need to probably not make millions for tomorrow, because who knows if they're going to happen.
Yeah.
So I had to just give myself a little bit more grace
Yeah.
and realize that I don't have it all figured out. Nobody does.
Nope.
Nobody's goes according to plan.
Nope.
And any way you can prepare, it's going to be good for you. But ultimately, you have to be flexible.
Yes.
You have to be able to adapt and
Absolutely.
and have a sense of humor about it.
Yeah.
My husband and I
absolutely.
remind each other that a lot, especially that we're in the toddler days, and there's just so many emotions.
Oh, toddlers.
And you just have to be
Different.
goofy and laugh about it. And it's also, I think the more goofy you can be and the more you can laugh about it, the more your child feels like you're bonding with them. And so that's just been kind of the theme, is just like giving up this swagger of I've got it figured out, and just kind of laughing with people. And I think within 5 minutes of, or I hope within 5 minutes of talking to me, any person can be like, oh, no, she's really just making fun of herself because she has no idea what's going on. And I would hope
absolutely.
that that's how it is now, because before it was like, no, everything's going to be fine. I've got it figured out. I've done this before.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's good. No, I think a lot of
absolutely.
people need to hear that. Thank you.
Yes, okay, so motherhood I like slammed into a brick wall. I had my pregnancy was very easy, but my delivery was not, and my first actually ended up in the NICU for 10 days. And that, I think, propelled a lot of anxiety and just kind of postpartum blues that lingered a little bit too long. And so with my first, I grew this ginormous like empathy because I had no idea. I was kind of the first of my friends to start having kids. So like, it's like nobody, and like in my family, we're kind of the first, first grandchild, everybody's excited. Everyone's like, and you also like nursing is such a curveball and all the things. And, I was so hard on myself because again, the expectation was that I would have this instinct to be able to know what to do. And I stand by my first being very difficult also. Yeah.
He is.
And he's so sweet. He's so tenderhearted. And I think that stems from birth.
They have personalities when they're born.
When they're born. Yes.
Oh,
I stand by this.
You think something's like, wait, what's going on? Why won't this baby breastfeed? There's something wrong with me.
Yes.
No, that's just
your child's being difficult.
very difficult
your
or
baby.
laid back. Like, I just peace out. I don't really care. It's not a lazy nurser. It's just personality. They don't care.
My OB said he could hear my oldest screaming before she came all the way out. And I mean, she hasn't stopped.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Yes, no, and I agree that they have their personality, and I think you just are like, this is a baby. Like, how much personality can But I'm like, oh, you do. You have like your own unique, and I need to figure out how to love you and like how to meet you and like how to grow together. Like we grew up. I feel like he and most people were like, your first will teach you so much. They will humble you. They will teach you so much about yourself. I feel like God has been very generous with me, and like pregnancy has just been my pregnancies have been fairly easy, like outside of sickness and like backaches and all the normal stuff. My deliveries after that with my second and third were fairly simple, but recently I actually experienced a miscarriage for the first time.
Oh, Catia, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. It's something I share on my personal page, and I think that now has given me also a new perspective on life and like what a gift it is, and like what like just it's so good. Like I know it's bad. Like I know something happens, you're like it's broken, but I'm like, oh, my babies are such a blessing. They're such a gift, and it has helped me connect with so many women that have also walked that path. And it has been so, I know in a way it shouldn't be, but like, again, like I feel like God really uses these things that are meant to destroy us to like build us up. And he has really used it to give me this energy, like this newfound energy to be like, life-giving and like to people that have either are walking through it or have walked through it. So I feel like it's interesting. Like I'd never experienced that before, and I had never had issues with infertility either. And so it was just kind of out of nowhere. But I'm like, okay, like it's still something that I can use to share and like
100%. 100%. I feel like, so I've had 6 kids, if you're listening
incredible.
for the first time. And
Incredible.
my last, baby number 6, was an emergency C-section at 27 weeks. He was 2.2 pounds when he was born, Levi. Levi turns 14 tomorrow.
Oh, so cool.
God love him. That's
Isn't that amazing?
fantastic.
Okay,
It's
so
incredible.
my first 5 were all natural births, amazing birth experiences, and I was already helping people as a doula before Levi was born.
Yeah.
So that experience for me, I mean, you talk about opposite ends of the spectrum. I mean, I'm leaving my baby in the NICU at the hospital, which you understand. And I had my first 5 at home. Like, I didn't even go anywhere.
What is this?
So
this isn't
it was
the plan.
extreme for me, and I had no idea how. I won't tell you the whole story.
Yes.
The whole story is on one of my podcast episodes, but it has served me so well as a doula because not every birth is going to go exactly the way you think it's going to go.
Wow.
Not every pregnancy is. Not every postpartum care is going to go the way you think it's going to go. Breastfeeding, on and on and on. And so it has helped me help my clients when something shifts and something happens that you would not have written in your book of life. What are you going to do now? And the perspective of life has to change.
Absolutely.
Your perspective on how it should be and shouldn't be has to move, or you're going to sink.
You're going to be
Quickly.
devastated.
You're going to be devastated. And so it has really helped me. Hey, yeah, I get it. Baby's heart rate dropped. You wanted an all natural birth, but you know what? Let's go get baby. Don't
Yeah.
you want to meet your
Yes.
baby and
Take my
everything's
plans
okay?
and give me a child.
So our clients
Yeah.
don't feel traumatized by a C-section because we know how to help them shift their perspective about this. Hey, you're in the right place, aren't you? And there are traumatic experiences out there. There really are.
Absolutely.
And sometimes there's no way to spin it. There's not a great perspective. It's hard to know what to do. But like you said, the Lord really can use everything if you'll allow him to. And so I love that you guys are speaking to those painful points that can turn around. Thank you for listening to My Doula Micah. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube at My Doula Micah. We can also get connected at mydoulamicah.com. If you're interested in checking out my book, the link to The Humor in Birth, Stories and Insights from a Doula can be found on all of these social platforms. Be sure to share and subscribe. I'll be here next week, so please be sure to join me again. And this podcast was produced by Rogue Media Network.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.